The Amazon Great Indian Festival just happened, and that meant buying a lot of books. Hi everyone, I'm Archana and welcome to my channel Read with Archie. So today I'm going to show you all the books that I got from the Amazon sale, and not just this Great Indian Festival, but I also got a couple of books from the Prime Day sale about a month or two ago. I haven't been able to make a video about that yet, so I'll be showing you that as well in this video. So I've got totally about 19 books, and let me quickly walk you through all the books that I got. So the first book that I got is Karna's Wife. This is by Kavita Kane. So this is written from Karna's wife Urvi's perspective. Karna had two wives, Vrishali and Urvi was a princess. So Urvi married Karna in her Swayamvara. She was in love with him, like through her marriage and years after that, and later finally having to see him killed in a battlefield. Probably not directly, but hearing that news. So all the things like the ebbs and flows of Karna's life, but from Urvi's perspective, is what is told in this book. It really made me fall in love with Karna. I know Karna is a villain in a lot of aspects, but I also feel that he is a very misunderstood anti-hero, and this book kind of talks about it. So yeah, though I read it on my Kindle, I wanted a physical copy of it. So the next book I got is To Hate Adam Connor. I got this in the Prime Day sale and not in the Great Indian Festival sale, and I've already finished reading it. But just to kind of give you a quick synopsis of it, I'll review it separately in another video. So here, a movie star called Adam Connor moves in next door with a person called Lucy. Okay, so Lucy is currently living with her friend, and Lucy happens to see Adam Connor, and obviously her stalker instincts are kind of heightened because of that. And Lucy actually starts putting a ladder and starts observing Adam and even takes pictures of him. Okay, so Adam is a single dad. He's just gone through a divorce and he has a 5-year-old son, and Lucy there has been observing him. But Lucy sees something there happening in Adam's house, and though she actually rushes to help Adam, like it was for the good of Adam, Adam still gets really pissed off, and then he actually gets Lucy in prison. Okay, so after that they kind of like can't stand each other, but then they are also kind of attracted to each other. It's more like an enemies to lovers sort of a story, and this is actually an entertaining read, but it's just that I found Lucy very weirdly stalkerish. So this is the second book that I got. The third book that I got is yet another book by Kavita Kane, again in the mythology section. This is called Tara's Truce. Tara was initially the wife of Vali, and after Vali was killed, she happens to marry her Vali's brother Sugriv. So this story is a little heartbreaking. She does it for a lot of reasons, and seeing Tara's perspective is what this book is going to be about. I haven't read it yet, but going by the synopsis, this is what the book seems to be about, and I just can't wait to read it. The next book that I got is A Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. So my cat is here. Okay, so the next book that I got is A Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This book was released this year, and this is about Maya and Connor. So if you have read the book Not in Love, so Not in Love was about Ellie, and this is about Ellie's best friend Connor and Ellie's sister Maya. So Maya falls in love with her brother's best friend, and they have an age gap of like 15 years. But of course, like they try to kind of work out all of those things, but Connor still sees her as a kid. She's obviously like well into her adulthood. She's in her early 20s, but still like Connor does not kind of want to get into this whole relationship. So that is what this book was all about. And going by Ali Hazelwood's writing, I really love her style of writing. She's extremely humorous, and I enjoy reading every bit of it. I'll review this book separately because I've already read it because it came as a part of the Prime Day sale. But overall, this is another book that I got, and look at the cover. Isn't the cover just amazing? Wow! Yeah, I fell for the cover too. Okay, let's quickly move on to the next book. The next book is called Rescued. This is a story of 12 cats from their perspective. Okay, a lot of writers have contributed to the writing of this particular book, but they actually talk from a cat's perspective as to how that cat's life was changed, or how it did not change, or whether it became better or worse. But yeah, this is a book on Rescued, a book of rescued cat stories. Okay, the next one is yet again a book that I've already read. It's called Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. It's a very popular rom-com, and this is a story between Emma and Justin. So they meet via Reddit. Emma and Justin are currently facing a curse. Okay, they call it a curse because each time they date someone and then they break up with that person, the person that they just broke up with, they find their soulmate the next time they start dating. Okay, that's like a curse. So it's like if somebody has to find their soulmate, they have to meet, they have to date Emma or Justin. So they happen to kind of connect through Reddit, and they realize that both of them have the same curse, and they decide to actually meet and start dating, because if they would date each other and then they break up, obviously that curse will be broken and they'll find their soulmate, right? So that is what this book is about. And it is actually very funny, but also it made me cry in a lot of places. So I read this on Kindle and I wanted a physical copy of it. So this is yet another book that I got. I know so far I've bought 2 books that I've already read. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one is called If Cats Disappeared from the World. I think this is a Japanese translation. Yeah, it's actually a Japanese translation. It's written by Genki Kawamura, I guess. I don't know if I'm spelling the name right. So the devil announces himself and he wants to make certain species from the world disappear. So this person is okay with it, I guess. I don't know the name of this person, but all of a sudden he realizes, but what if cats disappear from the world, and especially his cat Cabbage? Can't imagine something like that, right? I just picked this book because I wanted to read another person's perspective on how much they love their cat and what their cat means to them. So as a cat mom, this is something that I kind of closely relate to, especially cat stories and humans connection with cats. So I decided to go ahead and pick that book. Okay, the next one is yet again, okay, for the next few books, right, I'll show you all the books that I've already read on Kindle, but I wanted a physical copy of it, so I bought that. Okay, this one is Funny Story, the very popular rom-com by Emily Henry. This is one of my favorite books by Emily Henry. So this is about Daphne and Miles. Daphne and Miles are currently dating Peter and Petra respectively, but Peter and Petra are like childhood best friends. And when Daphne and Peter are about to get married in a few weeks, so during his bachelor's party, Peter suddenly realizes that he's in love with Petra. So all of a sudden he walks in, he breaks up with Daphne, and then Petra also breaks up with Miles, and Daphne has nowhere to go. Okay, so she finds a friend in Miles and they decide to move in together, as in she moves in with Miles. Okay, so initially they're kind of bonding over the breakup and all of that. They soon discover that they can kind of be friends. Okay, and will this friendship blossom into love is something that this book talks about, and I absolutely enjoyed reading this. It also made me cry in 1 or 2 places, but overall it's such a great read, and this is one of my favorite rom-coms. Okay, I'll show you yet another book that I read on Kindle but bought a physical copy. This is Beg, Borrow or Steal by Sarah Adams. This book is a 4 series part, but you don't have to read the first book to be able to read the second book and vice versa. So I currently have 2 books from the series, though I've read 3 books so far, and the 4th one is releasing next year. So this one, these 2 are sisters. Okay, this story is about Annie, this story is about Emily. They are sisters, but Annie falls in love with her brother's wife's bodyguard, Will, and this is between Annie and Will. Okay, this really handsome bodyguard who walks in and then kind of sweeps Annie off her feet, but then Will is someone who already has fans of his own, and how their love kind of blossom is what the story is about. This story is Practice Makes Perfect, and this one is Beg, Borrow or Steal. So in this case, this is an enemies to lovers story. Okay, so Emily is a teacher and she's currently living in Rome in Kentucky, not the Rome in Italy, and Jack comes back to Rome. Okay, so he had earlier quit. He was also a 2nd grade teacher just like Emily, but then he quit the school and now he's back all of a sudden into her life. They both are rivals, they both are also enemies, and Jack never even had the courtesy of giving her a goodbye when he left town. So she tries to kind of make his life miserable so that he leaves town, but then even worse, he becomes her neighbor. So that is what this Beg, Borrow or Steal is about, and it's like an enemies to lovers story, but later on they have a mission that they have to kind of crack together. Okay, something that will really save Emily's face. So yeah, These two books are like my 5-star reads, and I had to buy them. 4.5 and 5 stars kind of a read, so I bought them as well. Okay, I feel like this time I've got a lot of romance books and I have no idea why. I'm going to show you some of the middle grade books that I got, because I also love reading all these middle grade books that are meant for children. Obviously, I've noticed that a lot of adults actually enjoy reading this. In fact, there are a couple of people that I follow. They actually love reading these middle grade books. So the first one that I got is called Gangster Granny. I got this because I think a boy and his granny are going on a heist. I don't know what it is about, but the minute I saw that it's a bonding between a grandma and a grandson, it's something that really touched me close to home, because I had a very great relationship with my grandmother and I really want to relive this. Of course, we didn't really go on to do a heist or something, but I just wanted to read this and kind of feel close to my grandma. In fact, if there are books when it comes to a granny and a granddaughter, or a granny and a grandson sharing a relationship, I tend to gravitate towards that. So this is one. In fact, I even got another book by Frederick Backman. So this one is called My Grandmother Sends Her Apologies and Regards. I'm yet to read this book, though I really want to read it. I also kind of dread it because I know I'll end up missing my grandmother. But yeah, this is yet another book that I got, a middle grade novel. Two other middle grade novels that I got. So I watched this animated movie, okay? This animated movie is called The Wild Robot. I watched that movie and I did not know that it was based on a book. So there is this robot called Roz. Roz is actually programmed to perform household chores and any task that it has been assigned, okay? So while shipping, some accident occurs and this particular robot actually tumbles out and falls into a forest. So Roz actually kind of assembles herself, wakes up, but then she finds herself in a very strange forest surrounded by animals. She obviously does not know what this is all about. She's a robot, she's programmed to do tasks, and then all of a sudden she's waiting for someone to give her some tasks, okay? And during that time she happens to take care of a little goose. So that goose is also separated from the family, and Roz is trying to take care of that because she thinks it's a task. And during this period, Roz and that goose kind of bond, a very unlikely mother and child sort of a bond, and it's very, very heart touching. And how the story evolves, how they try to kind of understand each other, how she acts as a goose mom to help that gooseling fly, is what the story is about. It has a lot of twists and turns, ebbs and flows, and it's a very beautiful story. And I say twists and turns, I mean all the difficulties that come with it, and it was a great watch. So I haven't read the book one, but after watching that movie, I really wanted to see what happens next. Though the story does kind of end there in the movie, there are other parts to it. I don't know when they'll make the next movie. So I decided to buy this. This one is called Wild Robot Escapes, and this one is called The Wild Robot Protects. This one is by Peter Brown. So these are the two books that I got. So as a continuity to those series, and I really can't wait to read this as well. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. Okay, it looks like there are a lot of romance books, but before that, let me just show you two other non-fiction books that I got. So these two books are by Sanjeev Sanyal, and this is about the Indian Ocean, the churning of the ocean of churn, how the Indian Ocean shaped human history. So this is what it is about, the prominence of the ocean, how it facilitated trade, etc., etc. I'm yet to read this. And then the incredible history of India's geography. This is yet another book that I got. I really wanted to kind of learn a little more about Indian history, geography and everything. So I decided to go with a non-fiction book, and that too written by Sanjeev Sanyal. Who better than him, right? So yeah, I got this, and now let's move on to the last four books. All these are romance books. I haven't read any of them. I'm going to be reading them, and I haven't read any of these authors too. So this one is the very popular First Time Caller by B.K. Bodison. I have not read a B.K. Bodison book yet, but in this it looks like Aiden is a radio jockey and he hosts a show, and during this time he gets a caller called Lucy who asks for dating advice for her mom. And this particular show kind of goes viral after that, and I think there are secret sparks flying between them or something like that. I haven't read it, but I can't wait to find out. So this is a book that I plan to read very soon. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one is called The Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood. So the minute I read the synopsis of it, I really wanted to pick this book. So Delphi is someone who passes away, and in her afterlife she meets the soulmate of her life, okay? But it looks like the soulmate was accidentally brought into the afterlife and has to be sent back into the earth. So she is suddenly at loss for words because like she happened to meet her soulmate and he's again taken away from like the afterlife, right? So now she is given another chance where she has to go back, but she has only 10 days to find her soulmate, okay? And to make matters worse or to make matters complicated, the person that she thinks is a soulmate has no recollection of how he met her. So she has only 10 days to find him and make him fall in love with her. So that's what this book is about. And of course, I felt that I kind of like these. You know, as a kid, I read the Mediator series by Meg Cabot. And while reading that series, it's like a girl who's a mediator who falls in love with a ghost, okay? So ever since then, I kind of like really like these stories, like these afterlife sort of stories or like ghost and human romance sort of a book. I know it's absolutely weird for me to kind of like that, but I really love such books and I haven't really come across many, honestly. So if you have read anything like that, please drop in your recommendations in the comments below. I'd really like to read more stories like that. Okay. Up next, we have The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I have not read a Christina Lauren book so far, but I've heard so much about her. So this is about a novelist. Her name is Felicity and she's a romance writer, okay? She has made millions of fans believe that, you know, there is love, romance exists. But she herself does not really believe in love. Lust, yes, but romance, not really. Not in love. So she is suddenly chosen for a reality TV show. It's called The True Love Experiment. And this is actually like from someone called Connor. So Connor Prince is a single dad again. I don't know, I think I found like 2 books that are like single dad kind of tropes. And yeah, so Connor Prince is also a single dad and he's actually a filmmaker, okay? So during this time, I don't know if like sparks fly between them or something like that happens or how they kind of fall in love, especially considering that they both really don't intend to fall in love. So this is what the book is about and I can't really wait to read it. Okay, the final book. This is a forced proximity sort of a book. There are 2 people who dated 5 years ago and obviously 5 years is kind of a long time. They must have gotten over each other, right? Honestly, I don't think 5 years is enough of a time to get over your ex, but okay, that's what the book synopsis says and please don't blame me for that. So Georgia and Ellie, they broke up 5 years ago and now all of a sudden they're back together again, thrown into the same place, not back together as in like together, but they're thrown into the same place for their best friend's wedding. And during the wedding, they kind of like, there's also fire during the wedding and it's kind of like a forced proximity sort of a situation, okay? And will the sparks fly again or will meeting your ex be a mistake of the lifetime? So that is what this book seems to be about and I can't wait to read it. Obviously, I do like this forced proximity sort of situations, but yeah. So I've got about 19 books so far. So I'm so glad I got these books. I still have a couple of books that I also bought from Blossoms. I'll probably be showing you in one of my future videos. I feel that 2025 was the year that I bought the most number of books and I'm currently on a book buying ban. I'm not going to buy any more books until the next year. I mean, I know it's just 2 months for the next year, but yeah. So there are 19 books here. There are many more books here in Blossoms as well. I'll show you that in another video. So if you liked watching my video, please consider subscribing to my channel if you're into books or if you're into reading. I review books, I also buy books, I also post about books. So basically this channel is all about books. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Stay happy, stay blessed and stay kind. Bye.